and also the viewer who's watching us at this particular moment. Like you have said, my name is Benson Pastore, one of the co-hosts for this morning show called KOKOLIRIKO. Though I am always here once in a while, I can confirm to you outside over the weekend so many things transpired, and also before weekend, last week, so many things also happened, and one of it was a budget consultative meeting for 2025/2026 financial year, whereby so many things were discussed. And also, normal when people see me in front of the lens like this, they start thinking about what is happening in the world of sports. They might be thinking that I am coming to give them what has happened and what continues to happen.
You have to also give them what is happening in the world of sports. Because right locally up to internationally, there are
towards the closing edges of the show, obviously I will be highlighting them with what is happening in the world of sports.
Okay, as we get move on, remember we are 12 minutes after 7 o'clock, and really yesterday we did see and receive the shocking news of the demise of NUP's deputy president, that's Western Uganda, who died at Mbarara Hospital, where she had been admitted for quite a long period of time, battling an illness that she kept her down for a long period of time. Unfortunately, she lost the war yesterday. And now the National Unity Platform Party deputy president, that's for Western Uganda, in the names of Jolly Mugisha, is dead. And that's also according to information did receive from the party via the party's party principals, ex-handle in there. And Mugasho died, that is at Monday afternoon, that's at Mbarara Regional Hospital, where she had been admitted. That was already for a long period of time in there. And really somebody would be asking, who is Mama Joy, or who is the lady that we're talking about? And this is where we also need to let you know that she was a social worker, because the social workers really realized that they really travel a lot, and she was able to at one time work in Mbarara, and that is really what we did see happening yesterday. And I hope at the end of the day, there's really a lot that we shall be discussing in there. And remember, she also really worked in an area that is majorly known for NRM, because she comes from Western Uganda, and the NRM is actually being formed by most leaders coming from Western Uganda, but she chose to be part of National Unity Platform Party. What do you say about such a character?
So, first, it's so sad. It is so sad to lose such kind of a person, a political figure like that.
And at this time, yeah.
And at this crucial moment, because we are all aware that we only left with very few months for 2026 general election. What I can say is it's actually a sad one.
It's really quite sad, and the mother of 3 got married in 1985, but unfortunately her husband passed on. That is the year 1992, and she is born in Tujo, that is in Tungamo district. Chomugasho, 61 years old. By the time she died, also really went through a lot of issues, and also really, if you really realize how she was, you realize she was an evangelist, a politician, student of theology, a counselor, and a gender activist. And many people actually knew her for being and championing the issues of gender-based violence. And today when you talk about gender-based violence, you realize that a lot of families are going through this vice. And many people actually do not know what exactly to do when it comes to issues of gender-based violence. And she's one leader who actually championed the issues of gender-based violence in India. And most people knew her as a community developer, and that is one thing we didn't see happening. And I hope at the end of the day, that is where we shall be remembering her for, and that is also really where we need to also really remember her for, because if you look at the issues of, really, the issues of NUP, and then you realize that a lot has been happening in that camp, and we hope, may her soul rest in eternal peace, because if you look at this lady, you realize that she was one of those instrumental leaders when it comes to mobilization from NUP in Western Uganda, because I was able to see clips of her together with the party principal, that's only plus other leaders mobilizing ahead of the party, also ahead of the party. That's when it comes to 2026 elections. And you realize that that is also where we are seeing National Unity Platform today launching what they call their mass registration. That is right away from Western Uganda. We are recently able to see the group in Hoima, and they are traversing the country, and that's also to have the mass mobilization campaign going there. Recently, when we did see the Northern Uganda team in West Nile also moving, and now National Unity Platform Party is moving, but at a time where we are seeing them also trying to make themselves stronger and felt within the communities. We are seeing also the shocking news of the demise of one of those leaders who would make the dream of the party in the western part of the country maybe a reality. And that's really where we did see that happening. And Benson, the modest lady that we're talking about, once worked as a consultant at the Ministry of Finance doing gender budgeting Karamoja sub-region. and that is one area she once served at. What do you say about such a character who is most versatile and served as a gender-based violence activist, and who is a politician, who is not only that, who did a lot of things, meaning her experience speaks volumes?
Based on the highlights you have just given about her, economically, political, and also socially, she has done a lot. That means, I should say, Uganda, obviously not only Loop alone, Uganda at large, they have lost actually an iconic figure in all the departments I've mentioned, economically, political, and socially. Like I said earlier on, based on the profile you have just given about her, concerning all what she has been doing, that means we have lost someone who has been so vital in the sector of work. What I can only say is we have lost her. There is no any other miracle we can do. What I can only say is may her soul rest in eternity.
Okay, that is also where we shall be still extending our message of saying, may her soul rest in eternal peace, and may God give courage to the family who is bereaving at this time. And that's where we're going to be leaving the story aside, Benson. There's a lawyer in the names of Gawaya Tegule who has dragged legal action against, that is Uganda's First Lady Janet Katara Museveni, the First-hand General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, and the President Museveni's brother Salim Saleh, accusing them of various unconstitutional acts. And Mr. Tegule filed a petition that is in the Constitutional Court challenging the promotion and appointments of General Muhoozi, as well as the involvement of General Saleh and the First Lady in state affairs. And that is one reason we're seeing the lawyer in the names of Tegule dragging the first family, that is to court. And now the lawyer also started the promotion of General Muhoozi to Lieutenant General, also to a 4-star general in October 2022, was unconstitutional. And he urged that Muhoozi had previously exhibited conduct detrimental, that is to national and regional security, which led to his removal as commander of land forces. And Mr. Tegule also contends that despite this, Muhoozi was not only promoted but also was later appointed, that is Chief of Defense Forces, in March 2004, which he claims violates Uganda's constitution. And that's one thing based on what we are seeing, and also happening is still there, where the lawyer has dragged the first family to court. What do you expect? Do you expect any maybe form of justice for this person who feels disgruntled?
First of all, if you take a look at the whole saga, taking the whole family to the court, I think
for involvement in state affairs.
Is it true? Is actually what everyone is asking. Some of these issues might be true, but some of these issues might be false. What I can only say is we need to first investigate before we continue further discussion about it, because the whole family has been dragged into court. Okay. And at the end, we may find that only one or two might be affected. Like one key issue here is all about Muhoozi, which has caught my attention, is Muhoozi not only being promoted but also being appointed as the leader of defense. And maybe that is one of the
the lawyer is contending the issue of General Muhoozi's tweets, because he says that those issues also really are bringing the issues of these issues. When you realize that Muhoozi's appointment, first of all, the tweets he has been doing, first of all, to him brings the issues of political turmoil. If you look at those tweets that led to his removal as Chief of Defense Forces and later getting reappointed, that is where the lawyer is really feeling that is not working very well, and he feels this matter should have been addressed. And Mr. Tegule concluded that despite this, Muhoozi not only promoted but also was later appointed Chief of Defense Forces in March of this year. And Mr. Tegule also urged that Muhoozi's public conduct, including the politically charged tweets, contravenes the non-partisan nature of Uganda People's Defense Forces Army, because he points out tweets that in which Muhoozi expressed presidential ambitions and later attacked that his brother-in-law Odrek Rabogo, and these are issues that the man feels are very, very much bad. Now, participation in partisan politics, according to Mr. Tegule, further accuses also the Major General Muhoozi Kainerugaba of engaging in partisan politics through his involvement, that is already with the Patriotic League of Uganda, its predecessor, the MK movement. And he claims that Muhoozi's open declaration of his political ambitions and his public also activities to promote himself as candidates violates the constitution, and that is where the man feels very, very much bad. And he has made his demands, and these demands is only to make sure that, first of all, recall of Muhoozi's current rank, and also declare the office of the Chief Defense Forces vacant, calling for occupation also only for a more competent and deserving officer, and order General Kainerugaba to cease his political activities or resign from the UPDF to engage in politics as a civilian. This is the demand the man is making, that if at all Muhoozi maybe wants to engage in politics, first of all, he must resign. But recently we did see the man that we're talking about in the names of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba coming out that he's not going to be aspiring in 2026, and that means for those who had the ambitions also maybe of aspiring as a PLU candidate, that dream is no more. What do you say about that?
First, the whole movie is confusing. Why am I saying so? Moise is saying that he's not going to aspire.
But recently many people had been thinking.
And so many people, they are thinking that he's going to be one of the candidates to aspire ahead of 2026 general election, especially in the sector of that president, and him saying that he's not going to aspire. And also, first, one thing we need to also talk about is, of course, some of the viewers might not be aware of what we are discussing, might be ignorant of what we are discussing. First of all, there is one thing I want to also drag you back into. Who appoints these people? We are talking about these iconic figures, more especially Muhoozi, who appoints the chief.
When you look at our constitution, it is the president that appoints. He has the powers to appoint and also maybe to drop. All that is entirely in the hands of the president. And
what qualification does one has to possess for him or her to be appointed?
It is entirely in the hands of the president, but of course, there's a team behind whom I believe is also there to assess and ensure that a lot of maybe checks are done. And that is how today we have seen people being appointed. And that is where we are seeing right in the military, with the promotions are also being influenced by the president. And not only that, even to the ministerial positions are all being influenced by the president. Not only that, even to some of the top government positions, all those are being appointed by the president, and the powers also given to him under the constitution. And that's where we are saying the constitution also has given him the powers to do that. And that is how in the military he is still the chief of army. And that is where today we also see him appointing the generals and also appointing many others. And that is how we are seeing the appointments solely in the army in there. And this man's demand is not only that. He has actually asked the man that you're talking about to dissolve the Patriotic League of Uganda unless Muhoozi relinquishes his, that's political military commission. And also went on, that is to ask, compel Janet Museveni to attend parliament sessions regularly. And this is the demand really which made me very happy, because if you look at the lady that we're talking about, the first lady, she's not also regular in parliament. And now that is where we are seeing the demand by this man calling for regular attendance of parliament sessions also by the first lady in there. And also went on lastly to require General Salim Saleh to explain the role in state. And that is where he feels that maybe he is not understanding the roles of General Saleh in the state affairs, and this also disclose where his powers are already driven from. And that is where we are seeing the man making those demands. But do you think the state will answer to these, maybe these demands?
It will depend.
First of all, the last one.
It will depend. First of all, you look at General Muhoozi. Muhoozi actually, he has done a lot in the military sector. There are two things here.
Okay.
That is the reason as to why I was saying that the matter is confusing.
It's a bit complex.
People were expecting him to aspire, and I know there are some people who are expecting him to remain in that position. Now, here comes the whole saga. In case he quits his job as being the chief of army and goes for politics, who is that iconic figure who will come and replace him? Because according to my own assessment, this man has done a lot. The general has done a lot. Is there an iconic figure who can come and replace him? And also, let me also ask you, will you wish for him to go for politics and quit his position as being the chief, or as you will still wish him to remain there?
Okay, Benson, when you look at this issue, first of all, many people have been thinking that this man is going to be appearing on the ballot ahead of 2026. Because the saying has always been, Muhoozi now, Muhoozi next. It means there's something that is cooking. If you look at all that, you realize that there's something that is cooking up. And maybe this time around, it's going to be Muhoozi to aspire. Maybe Muhoozi may come in the next elections, because for now, he has said in 2026, he's not going to be aspiring. He has made it quite clearly. And that is where those who had been thinking that the Patriotic League of Uganda is going to be transformed into another political party, because many people are thinking now, if at all, Patriotic League of Uganda is formed as a political party. What about NRM? Because many of those people who are behind Patriotic League of Uganda, I must say this, 99% of them are actually from the ruling government.
So we said that NRM was given a buff to
that is obvious. That is obvious. That is obvious, and is expected. And that is one thing also which many people have been anticipating out there. But now the question is, many people have been thinking also, if at all, Muzei is going to be on the ballot, and Muhoozi as well will appear on the ballot. Who exactly are the people going to be electing, and who exactly will lead? Because these are the same people, and that is where many people have been saying Muzei is a mahogany. So there is no way Muzei will give maybe birth to another form of tree, let's say pine, because mahogany definitely will produce mahogany. And many of those who believe and also already have the ideology of supporting the PLU actually feel Muhoozi is the next and a better replacement of the father. And that is where many people also will be thinking maybe they need to side with also the leader in there. But now, Benson, that is also one thing which we feel now, I need to also answer to your question. Should he consider dropping maybe the bid for presidential aspiration ahead of 2006, which he has done so? Definitely, I feel yes. He let himself in the army because the father is still able. Because many people are still saying, if you look at the campaign that many people are being countering, Tova Kumein, meaning the man is still energetic. But how energetic is it? Maybe him, sorry. How energetic is him? Because if you look at all those issues, then you realize that then Muzei is actually still stronger. Then let Muhoozi first serve in the army. That is also the way I need to answer your question. Now, to answer your question, Benson, let him continue in the army. Let the father first continue driving the bus, because many people feel the driver of the bus still has the energy. And maybe he will drink more energy drinks to make sure that he's still stronger, be ahead of 2026 in there. But now it is clear that Muhoozi won't appear on the ballot. It is Muzei, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who will be on that ballot with the cap, and we hope also now the supporters of PLU who had been thinking of confusion, because many people are thinking that confusion will emerge in the NRM, but we hope now that also is addressed. It will be Muzei Museveni to be on that paper, and that is where we expect now those who had been rallying behind the PLU to continue rallying the support that is for His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ahead of 2026 in there.
First, one thing we need to understand, and also the viewers will have to understand, is politics is a funny game. And one thing I've been asking myself is Muhoozi having that political ambition?
Yes, he has it.
If he is having, to me, this is a mind game. Okay. First of all, this is according to my own perspective. NRM has given birth to PLU, and Muhoozi is having political ambition, and now he has said that. Recently saying that he's not going to aspire ahead of 2026
maybe we will aspire 2031.
And we never know. Also, after a few months, when we will be reaching closer, he will also openly come up saying that, okay, I am coming back. And you look at these two parties. Right now, we cannot say that PLU is a political party because it has not been declared official, because to me this is a patriotic party.
It's a pressure group for now. But if you look at all these political parties, most of them started just the way PLU has started. Look at NUP. NUP started as a wave also of people power. Today it is not only a platform party. PLU started as it is. At the end of the day, we hope this will be transformed into a political party, just like many people are thinking. Don't you think that this would also maybe show us giving back to any political party? But that's clear. And we now expect also the party to be registered, IL-26 authorities to be made a political party. But now the man has made it clear that he's not going to be aspiring in 2026. Now for the fans who are maybe waiting to see him on the ballot, you have to wait maybe until 2031. And we hope by that time he will be declaring his intentions clear. And by that time we hope he will be not also still serving army in there as demanded by also to also drop maybe the army position to also join politics by one of the lawyers who dragged the court in there.
In case General Muhoozi comes on board, is it going to be the right time for people to say that it is now family affair when it comes to presidential position?
That is where also we are going to leave that discussion aside, but of course that is not it, and we hope as the viewer you can still share your thoughts and share your opinions on what we are discussing this morning in there, and that's where we're going to be leaving the discussion aside, and we hope also when 2026 comes, definitely we know who is going to be appearing on the ballot between the two now, because it is going to be Muzei and the bus also driving the bus in there, not also the PLU with the lion, but this time round it's still going to be the lion, it's still going to be the bus That is going to be
First,
given by His Excellency.
in
So
summary,
we take a short commercial break, and when we return back, Benson, we shall be continuing with the discussion later on. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, the team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium, Channel 259 and Channel 246. Starting this August 15th. Subscribe to Star Times Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. Star Times Football and Limited Passion. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from the short commercial break. We are back with the discussions, and our final destination, of course, remains 9 o'clock. My name is Farish Majid, and I'm still together with Oraku Benson Pastori, where we are going to be discussing a lot of the stories that continue to sort of make rounds right in the world of current affairs, and also what continues to make rounds in the news, in the different media platforms in there, and we shall be discussing all that here. And we hope as the viewer, you can also be able to sort of share your thoughts and opinions on to some of the issues that we are going to be discussing in there. Benson, just weeks after the death of the Kisoro Member Parliament, now the ruling government of National National Movement Party Electoral Commission has also already announced conditions, that's for aspirants, that's for the Kisoro District Woman MP, ahead of the by-elections, that is to replace the deceased Sarah Mateke, who died on in there. And while addressing journalists, that's in Kampala on Monday, NRMEC, that is also chairperson, that is Tango Doi, said that all those vying for Mateke's position should also really, not be members of armed forces or cultural leaders and must not be employed in government. And that is the demand we are seeing also coming from NRM in there. Now, according to NRM, contestants can formally express interest by paying a non-refundable fee of shillings 1 million That's the party, and also the father, they must be aged above 18 and registered also the voter within NRM India. That's where we are seeing now that demand. And now the Kisoro woman MP seat was also rendered vacant following the demise of Mateke on September 9th, which is also this month, a few weeks ago. And Mateke doubled as the State Minister for Defense, and she died in there. Meanwhile, Odoi also said eligible candidates for local government councillorship should be below the age of 30 years for youth, and also 60 years and above for older persons, and they must be residents solely within the electoral area, among other areas. What do you think about the demands? That is for the NRM party solely in there for those who are vying for that position.
First, if I could be having the power, the best thing I will be doing is, like, if a political leader of a certain place passes away like this, I will suggest that the opportunities will be given to one of the family members.
Are you part of the ring fencing idea?
Now,
because many people have been saying, if at all one person dies, then that is the ring fencing. That is also really what you're trying to suggest here.
The opportunity has to be given to one of the family members to console the family. You look at the...
Do these people possess the ability? Should we say we need to give it to family members because of sympathy? Yes, Benson, you are right. Now, we have seen this happen. Here
comes the other part. The other issue here is, you know, politics is not like a garden work, which can be done by everyone. Politics needs that brain.
That is why I'm asking, do these family members... Are they satisfied with the ability? Let's look at those ones who have already been voted.
That's why...
Because if you are yes, Benson here, even names have been suggested. Her daughter's name has been suggested by the family members, and they are fronting her to replace the mother. Yeah. But then the question is, let us look at the ones who have already been voted. Have they satisfied to the, maybe, expectations?
That is the reason as to why I'm saying that to me, so that is my own suggestion. If the power is to be given to me, I first maybe maybe to end this period, let me be open to end this period. That opportunity should be given to one of the family members to console the entire family. But here comes the challenge: is there any iconic figure? Is there any iconic figure in the family who is having that brain of driving politics? Is another challenge. Yeah, yes, we may say that, okay, let's give the opportunity to one of the family members, but when in the family there is no any other person with that brain work of driving politics, it also becomes a challenge. What I can only say concerning that saga is, much as another person is coming to replace such kind of a deceased person, at least the governments will keep on compensating the family to console the entire family.
Okay, other than maybe giving reference to the positions, Benson feels maybe the family members could be given other opportunities through support in various ways, and such that these people get to support the families. If you look at some of these leaders who die, as an MP, Benson, if I was an MP, of course, of which I'm not, if I die today, I'll be leaving a huge gap in my family, and many people who have been depending on me, definitely I will be suffering in there, and that means ring-fencing the position comes in there, but we're not saying that is really something right, because if at all we say now let all positions be ring-fenced, definitely the outcomes also will be also really expected in there. But we're saying those who have been given the opportunity, please serve, make sure that people do not also really remember the deceased in there, because if you look at some of these people who have been voted, Benson, I trust me if I can be able to tell you that many of these have not also really, in my own opinion, satisfied to the expectations. But those who have also really worked, they have tried their best, because we possess different abilities. My father may not be having a different character, maybe the same characters as I do. And my characters and attributes may not be passed on to my children. It means we are totally different persons. But we're saying, all in all, let's try to emulate the character of those who have given us gap.
But first, here comes the challenge. Every political leader, I should say every leader, not only political leader, has got his or her own driving force. That is the challenge now.
Okay, that is it. And now the vacant positions in Kisoro are not only for the woman MP. We are seeing Kisoro District Local Government also council include that district woman councillor. That is for Southern Division is also vacant, following also the candidate who resigned from that position. We have municipal male older persons councillor, that is already for Northern Division, and the NRM ticket who also died in there. We have municipal, that is male persons with disabilities, the PWDs also from NRM who also died in as well. And the sub-county male youth councillor, that is Chafa, for Chahaki Town Council, and the NRM who also resigned as well in there. And sub-county female also, that's also the PWD councillor for Bunangana Town Council, under NRM ticket who also really has well passed on in there. Many also, these are the positions that are vacant, and now that means EC of NRM is actually giving out the regulations for those who may also want to aspire under these tickets are mentioned in there. Now, we did see Tango Doi said also those who express interest will run from September 23rd of also this year, and that is also where they are expected to also echo out maybe the applications, and that started yesterday. It means those who are in the positions should definitely submit in their applications in there. Now, Tango Doi disclosed that there will be no primaries for the position also of the woman councillor, representing that is Chahaki Chanika Town Council, since NRM already has a flag bearer. But the rest, we shall be seeing to apply for this position.
First, before we shift our attention away from there, whereas I drag myself into the recent subtopic you have just brought, one thing the viewers outside there will want to understand is, for example, someone, a political leader has passed away. Now, we are looking for his or her replacement. Let me give it as an example. If the person who has just passed away is serving on NRM ticket, does it mean that his or her replacement will also have to be on NRM ticket? A viewer will want to understand this. Okay,
this is also the where entirely it depends on what political ambitions you have. Because freedom of association is there. Our constitution is very clear, Benson. You cannot be forced to join any political party of not your choice. You have the entitlement to join any. If you want to join, let's say, DP, it is your own opinion. You want to join FDC, it is your opinion. If you want to join LOOP, it is still your own opinion. If you want to join any other political party, UPC, let's mention.
Why I am bringing this one is, let's assume that I've been the MP of a certain area,
of which and
I've passed away. Now I've been serving on NRM ticket, but there is someone who may want to come, but is on LOOP ticket, maybe on DP ticket. Does it mean that because I've been serving on NRM ticket, the person who is coming has to be on NRM ticket?
Definitely that is not also guaranteed, because let's look at the by-election that happened in Arua City when our former MP, that's for our municipality, Honorable Ibrahim Abriga passed on. Let's give that reflection. What happened? They had to organize primaries. That is for each and every person to apply. We had candidates under NRM who applied. We had candidates from DP who applied. We had candidates from NUP who showed an interest, and as well as independence. It means there is no guarantee that this person has to be replaced by particularly an individual who inclines to the political party of power, who died by that power, who person died while in power, while serving. It means it is open. Every person can still apply depending on the interest you have. And it is now entirely in the hands of the voters to decide whether to continue with the ruling party or else have changed. It is entirely in the hands of the voters, and that is where they will be able to vote for the person that they want. Because we saw a scenario in a municipality, what happened? They voted for a leader who was inclining by that time with no. Who later on also changed in there. But that's also what we did see happening. It means they did not vote for a candidate of the ruling party.
Actually, we brought this one for people who are still new into the world of politics to understand. Now, I think a viewer who is still new in the world of politics can now be in position to understand it in a better way.
Of course, that is also the way for those positions that I didn't mention earlier on. They are going to be organizing by-election. And that means the party still has the mandate of selecting the strong candidates who can actually steer the flag very much well. And that is why the EC of NRM is coming with all these regulations and also the recommendations to make sure that those who are going to be also aspiring for these positions are actually the ones who can win, who have the influence, who can also make sure the party wins. Because if at all the party wins, definitely it makes the party more stronger. Let's give a scenario where 90% of the leaders, right from the lower local councils up to top positions, are from a particular party. It means that party is stronger, and that is where the parties always have to organize themselves for these positions, because these positions may look very small, like the district councillors. They look very small, but you're saying these play a big role in steering up the affairs of a particular district, because the influence sometimes they pass on the members of parliament. It is the same issues that their members of parliament also really drive. That's the national, also national political landscape. In that means these also really play a crucial role. They play a great role, and that is why the NRM Electoral Commission is coming up with all these guidelines for those persons who are willing to also really aspire for this position. Because if at all the guidelines are not issued right now, Benson expect one thing, chaos, where people are going to be fighting each other, where people are going to be fighting for these political parties. You realize that the person also with NRM will be fighting with that of NRM. You see a person of NUP will fight that with that of NUP. That of DP still will be fighting with that of DP. That is why the political parties must ensure there is also what we call uniform language being spoken. And that is why the EC of NRM is coming up with all these guidelines for the persons who are eyeing this position that I didn't mention earlier on.
First, before we move away from there, you know, it's always, it sounds with a lot of pleasure discussing politics, more especially the people who are still amateurs in the world of politics. And one thing a viewer outside there may want to understand is, what does it take for one always for people to form political parties as a political party, and what level of qualifications, as what kind of job will you have to be doing for you to form a political party? Some people, normally when we discuss politics, like if we are discussing, let me say, a subtopic, so many things continue to generate in the minds of people, given the fact that we are soon running into 2026 general election. And some people, let me say just open that someone might be thinking of forming a political party. What should I do for me to form a political party? Should I first be working maybe in, should I first be a political figure? So these things, they continue to run in the minds of people. And I wish, if you could be having the mandate, if you could be having the power, we highlight the viewers of like the criteria of maybe coming up with forming a political party.
Benson, there's really a lot that needs to be considered here, and that is where we are seeing today people are trying to register their political parties. Either 26 Benson, we are going to be seeing political parties that are new. But what does it take to have these political parties registered? Allow me to give you an example of the PFF, which is being registered also by the Katonga faction group, who moved there from FDC, and now they're trying to also have their party registered. What considerations has the EC asked them to ensure? Because you have to also present certain documents with EC. Very true. To make sure that EC approves these political parties. And now with this group, I want to interest myself is the PFF, which is being registered also by the Katanga faction group, who are trying to make sure that they also have their own political party ahead of 2026 general elections. And one of the requirements is, first of all, the leadership. We need to ensure that people who are going to be maybe steering the political parties are actually known. These are people who are supposed to be of sound mind, people also of no criminal record, people who are actually people, members of the public who are highly respectable. And that is how today we are seeing that Katonga group also being formed. And it's not only them alone. What about the structures? Who are going to be steering the affairs of these political parties? Their numbers, and this is also where we need to ensure that the numbers are actually met. Then secondly, what is the purpose? What is the name of this political party? We need to understand the name of this political party, the color, the signal, what they have, all these presentations.
Message they want to pass.
Message they want to pass, and why they want to form a political party, and what motive they have. All that is to be given, that is the EC within a particular period of time to make sure this political party is actually registered. And that is where we would also have this political party also be registered in there. Person, I will be also having that one time, because it's quite a good question, and I hope also at the end of the day people need to understand what it takes to have a political party. Because Benson, this question is right. Many people have been asking, if you look at the political parties that we have in the country today, none of them is being formed by West Nilers.
Yeah,
it's quite shocking.
So we
West Nilers not have a political party that, let's say, it is inclined to them. Because these political parties, some of them have been also tagged to particular regions. Look at the UPC. It has a political region where it is also being tagged at. Look at NRM. There's a picture where it is being looked at.
True.
Look at NUP. There's a particular image that certain people look at it also at. But for West Nile, we are inclined to all these political parties. We do not have any. And that means somebody who is out there, maybe watching us right now within West Nile sub-region, and feels he needs to also have these political parties registered. What should they take? I've earlier on mentioned some of the requirements, and more of those requirements can be got, that is also from the Electoral Commission offices. Move in there, ask for the details. What it takes to have your political party registered in there, because I believe we have the leaders.
True.
We have the persons who will maybe steer the affairs and also the champions of these political parties to make sure that Uganda also has a political party that is originating from West Nile sub-region. Because ever since time, maybe ever since after independence, I don't think if we have a political party that belongs to West Nile.
First, this one brings me to another subsector. Now, like I should say, West Nile region is one of the most populated sub-regions we have in the country. Like if I say tomorrow, West Nilers, they come up with their own political party, do you think will not be in position to go up to the peak? And the message we have just analyzed to the viewers is just to, is for you to now understand what is happening in the world of politics. It doesn't mean that forming a political party is just like you wake up in the morning, you gather people, you say, okay, let's form a political party. My bro here has already given the procedures, the channels, of course, you will have to follow for you to come up with a formidable political party. Now here, this one now brings me to the saga I've just mentioned. Like you have said, ever since, I should say, ever since we are born, you have never heard of a political party being formed in West Nile region. Let me say, in the near future, if West Nilers, they come up with their own political party, you think West Nilers, they cannot be in position to reach up to the peak?
I don't know why up this time West Nile sub-region has no political party of its own. It leaves me with many questions because we have the numbers. And we have what it takes. Look at some of these political parties that are being formed. I believe if West Nile has formed their own, then we will see maybe a rallying behind these political parties. Because under Electoral Commission, it's quite simple to have these political parties registered. You asked me earlier on what it takes to have a political party registered. Personally, it's quite simple. The first stage is to make a formal request. That is to Electoral Commission. That's sort of expressing your intention and making reservation of the name, first of all, symbol, slogans, colors of your political party. That is solely to have the political party registered. And the other one I was talking about the PFF, which was thrown out. First of all, because of colors. These people presented the light blue, which Electoral Commission rejected. Because if you look at the FDC, it is also blue. And then when the PFF presented the same color, a bit light blue, the Commission said no. But the people who also buy this political party information also are still saying and insisting that they will do whatever it takes to have EC approve their political party before time. And that is the condition. First of all, you have to make a formal request and say, I want to have interest in having this political party registered. And these are the colors, these are the slogans, this is maybe the symbol. That is where EC would also have constitution. Then secondly, obtain a form of, that's the third set also, that is only of assets and liabilities, and that's the party organization, that's only form, and that's only the third schedule. These are the conditions that you are supposed to present. First of all, the party administration, who are the leaders going to be within the political party. And then submit forms that have been filled, that's sold to EC, and then EC will do whatever it takes to consider whether to approve or not approve.
I think first in the near future we need to bring the Electoral Commission chairman, maybe one of the leaders from that sector.
Absolutely.
And we have lengthy discussion about that, because it is really a brilliant idea, and the viewers will want to know much about it. And with the discussion we are having right now, don't be surprised if tomorrow maybe youths may say that okay, we are forming a political party, and it goes up to the peak. Okay, let's form one.
That's why that is Benson's opinion, and that's entirely his own opinion, and I hope definitely he may be saying a message that's the people out there. But now Benson, to leave that story aside, now to look at some of the stories happening elsewhere. President Museveni urges Bunyoro to create own wealth amidst government support. Is another story that we're seeing in the paper this morning. This is on the monitor, where President Museveni has urged the people of Bunyoro sub-region to create their own, that is only wealth through that supporting government wealth creation programs. Today, Benson, you look at some of these programs that are being implemented. Also, you realize that the Paris Development Model is a program that is being carried on nationally. We have the Myoga, which is already being rolled out nationally, and the GROW, that's for women entrepreneurs. All that is being supported by the government to make sure that the people move away from the poverty bar line and that into the money economy, to also make sure to have something for their families. And speaking also last Friday during his visit at Masini district and addressing the gathering that's so at Golf Course Playground, somebody say that there is need for these people to also support some of these government programs to make sure they move away from the poverty bar line into also the money economy in their best. So that is also one thing we are seeing also happening, and we hope at the end of the day these programs solely can be able to solely have an impact. That's on the masses who are out there, who are the beneficiaries, for instance, who have also received the 1 million Ugandan shillings under the parish development model. We hope definitely that money changes their livelihoods, and to make sure that the people who have been known as poor should become rich, because we want to make sure that people are actually into the money economy. Benson, that's also where I will be asking your opinion. That's solely into these programs. Have you received the parish development model? Have you received the funds?
Not yet, but...
and do you want to receive the money? Yet you do not qualify.
In the near future, I will have to, because I am part of government.
Are you poor?
I am poor.
Benson, you putting on your coat?
No, it doesn't. Coat doesn't mean that...
let me ask, who is poor?
Poor.
Who is a poor person?
A poor person is a poor person.
Yeah. What
how will you know that?
Criteria do you have to judge?
How will you know that this person is poor? Because we have seen some rich people, the dresses, they don't have anything.
Are they poor now?
Normal people judge. Okay. People judge the poor people depending on their appearance.
But how do you know a poor person? Because somebody may not be understanding who a poor person is. Because I may be poor, not knowing that I'm poor.
The problem is we have different perceptions about these people, and how you normally see a poor person is different from how I see a poor person. Now coming to the real point, first the fact remains the resource envelope we have in our envelope in our pockets rather, they are very shallow. And there is a saying that you need to, if you sweat for your wealth, you will know how to control it in a better way. This one brings me to the point of parish development model. And people still, of late, you go to funeral, you go to churches, you go to the community barazas, you go to every gathering. Leaders emphasizing about the issue of parish development model. They are just emphasizing of how best you can be able to utilize the money, because there is a mess when it comes to the utilization of the money. And still there are some people who are not utilizing the money very well, because they still have that perception that this is government money, it's free, they have not sweated for it. That is the reason as to why I have to say that at least if you sweat for something, you will know how to control it in a better way.
That is where we list the president rallying the poor Bunyoro sub-region to engage themselves in agriculture. And personally, if you look at Bunyoro sub-region, you realize that is an area mostly known for growing sugarcane. We have our families from this side who are being moved. That is to go and cut the sugarcane that side of Masindi. And today, many of the people are actually there doing what we call the sugarcane cutting business, and others are farmers growing the sugarcane in there. But that's really where we have seen many of them also improving their livelihoods, because for those who send their children to school, today we have people whose parents went that side to cut sugarcane, but their children studied. But what about those who remained poor, who have not also done something for themselves and have remained in there? That means government also must also talking to them about these programs, because if you look at Bunyoro sub-region, first of all, in the district of Masindi, Hoima, you will realize sugarcane and maize are mostly grown in that side. These are the main crops that have been grown in there. But now in the parish development model, if I told somebody maybe got the 1 million and plants maize, what do you expect? Yeah. Because if you look at the price fluctuation, that is also for sugarcane, the prices are not stable. At one time you see them going up, and at one time you see them dropping down. So farmers could be crying, and that's sort of where we're saying sometimes people need to also make sure that they change their levels. And I feel government needed to come up with policies that first of all addresses the issues of price fluctuation. Because if you look at sugarcane, this is where we're seeing many of the farmers crying. Not only in the Bunyoro sub-region, even in the Busoga sub-region, farmers are crying because the prices of certain products continue to change. And that means if I told somebody plan to get a certain amount of money, at the end of the day, when the money drops, they are actually disappointed, and they're also left helpless in there. What would be your recommendation when it comes to government while implementing some of these government programs that make the poor move out of poverty?
Yeah, it's true. Implementing government programs is not all about having the money you give to people. You said that, okay, use this money to change your lives. No, you need to sensitize the masses about the money, how to utilize the money, how you can be, whether you want to fix it into business, whether you want to fix it in a garden work. If it is a garden work, what kind of crops do you have to deal with such that the money can at least be able to sustain you for a longer period of time. If it is into business, if you want to invest the money in the business, what kind of business do you have to invest the money in such that the money can be able to sustain you for a longer period of time? And this one brings me to the other part of price fluctuation. What I know is when the prices of commodities they come lower like this, of course, it normally brings that joy to the consumers, because what we know is the farmers, I should say this time, let me use farmers. The farmers, they produce for the final consumers. And you look at first of all, you look at the population, you rate it. Look at the number, you look at the number of producers, and you look at the number of consumers. If the prices of the things the farmers are producing, they still continue to be high, of course, the money, the consumers, the final consumers, they have, of course, it can't be able to sustain them. That means you'll be able to use huge amount of money, and the quantity you will be purchasing, or as you purchase, will be little. That means it keeps on balancing. And for government to actually sort out some of these challenges, it needs sensitization. That means sensitizing both the farmers and also sensitizing the final consumers. This time, the factories. This time I'm considering the farmers and also the final consumers, the factories. You need to sensitize them such that both the producers and also the consumers, they can be able to benefit, such that one side cannot be able to incur losses. That's what I can say.
Thanks for that elaborate discussion when it comes to the issues of price disparities, because many times we look at the issues of fluctuations, it leaves the farmers at nothing but counting losses and crying, and that is where we see some people have abandoned farming just because of the price inflation. And I feel government must come up with policies to address the issues of prices, right?
And first, before we shift our attention away from there, and one person will want to understand what normally generates, what it brings price fluctuation.
That is the discussion where we shall be discussing in the second hour. Already we are 2 minutes after that, and we are going to be taking a short commercial break. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show. When we bounce back, we shall be answering that question. For now, we take a short commercial break. My name is Farish Majid, and I'm still together with Oraku Benson Pastore.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium, Channel 259 and Channel 246. Starting this August 15th. Subscribe to Star Times Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. Star Times Football and limited passion. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back to the short commercial break. It's still the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV channel 477 on Star Times and on 0073 on Zuku, as well as online across all our socials, where you can be able to watch us each and every mornings, right from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock with me, Farish Majid. And I do not happen to be alone. I'm still with Dr. Benson Pastore. And earlier on, we had discussed a lot of pertinent issues, right, in the world of politics, where we also talked about social life and also many other issues. And now we are discussing what is also in line with economics. And also, that is also where we need to also make sure that each and every spheres of life is actually touched on, because we are here to touch issues also ranging from politically also driven, economically and socially. And now we are discussing issues when it comes to money. And earlier on, we asked a question: what causes the price fluctuations and disparities in the prices of goods and commodities already right in the country? Benson, allow me answer that question in just next 30 seconds. There are a lot of conditions that contribute, that is, to price fluctuations. First of all, the abrupt changes in the market. That's according to economics, because if you look at how maybe the abrupt change in the market, definitely if the price of a certain maybe good, let's say, is high, the demand will go high. Then that means the consumers, first of all, the suppliers, the raw materials, will also, at the end of the day, charge it highly. Then secondly, weather changes. If the changes in the weather are also really high, there's going to be price fluctuation. Because if you look at sugarcane, let's give us an example of sugarcane, because we are talking about sugarcane. If, let's say, maybe dry spell hits a certain area, then the sugarcane of that side is going to be affected. A particular region will take advantage to make sure that they charge the factories more. It means the issue of price fluctuation is going to be happening right at the side of, that is maybe the buyers, who in this case are the factories, who buy the canes from the farmers. It means the prices are going to be very much high. Then still, if the weather conditions are high, maybe if they're good, then the production is going to be high, where the demand will be low. And once the demand is low, the prices definitely will go down, so to make sure that people buy now the products, and maybe at affordable prices. It goes to the advantage of the factories now. That is where you hear the farmers crying. And that is how, at the end of the day, we hear issues. Because, Benson, I believe, sometimes the factories as well go through a lot. Let's give a scenario where the production of sugarcane is low. And then the farmers increase on their prices. The factories usually come out, do not complain, because if they increase the prices, it is the final consumer who will cry. You, Benson, who is maybe the taker of tea, if the prices of sugarcane goes maybe from 3,800 to 5,000, nobody will want to know why it is happening so. Nobody will want to know why the farmers charged highly for the raw materials. It means the price of canes had gone up. So I think all in all these factors contribute the changes in prices of maybe goods and products. So I think it also plays, first of all, to a disadvantage or an advantage to the final consumer in this case. So I think government needs to come up with policies, first of all, to address on these issues of price disparities. These variations in price sometimes contribute a lot when it comes to putting the farmers losses, because some of these farmers, Benson, borrow money.
Very true.
They borrow loans, and at the end of the day, they expect one thing: they expect profits, because there's nobody who wants to do business without getting profits.
If I may flashback, when we are still teenagers growing, let me talk about tobacco farmers. Tobacco farmers, they used to borrow money from a company called BAT, and at the end, they work with the money, and at the end, the price of tobacco fluctuates, and at the end, the whole burden comes on them. So I just use the tobacco farmers by then as an example. Actually, you have given a lot which I don't want to dilute.
Yes, Benson still talking about what is happening within tobacco farmers. Many of the farmers in the Western sub-region are still demanding for their money, and that's why they are asking government to actually compensate them. There's a company in the names of Continental that disappeared with the farmers' money, and today most of the farmers are being left and thrown out of business, because most of them claim that they had borrowed the monies. And today you move to districts of Madiokolo, you move to Terego, you move to Maracha. Farmers in these areas are demanding, even at the road district, because of late now we are seeing tobacco growing also entering a road district, which was initially an area that was known as the food basket of Western Sub-region. Look at areas of Logiri. Today, people are growing tobacco. Recently, I was able to interact with the LC5 chairperson of the district, and he told me that this is something that is just coming up, just because people from other areas have now bought land in this district.
If I may cut you short, and this one actually brings us to what happened the last week. It was all about a budget consultative meeting which took place in Arua district. Budget consultative meeting for financial year of 2025 and 2026. Actually, the issue of compensating the tobacco farmers was one of the key issues that that was discussed. I can confirm to the viewers outside there, it has already been implemented. It's over 9 billion. Over 9 billion Ugandan shillings, of course, has already been implemented to compensate these farmers, and the first phase is already out. That means that money, which is over 9 billion, will not be given at a go like this. It will be given in phases, and the first phase is already out concerning the issue of compensating West Nile tobacco farmers. The issue has already been sorted. The only thing remaining is for them to follow the right channels, follow the right procedures for them to get their money. Because first, we never know. Some of these people, they may come in the middle. Some of these people, they were not tobacco farmers. They will come and they register in the middle. The only thing government is waiting from these tobacco farmers is that they should now start following the right procedures. Otherwise, that issue has already been discussed, and it has already been implemented. The first phase of the money is already out. You know, Benson, for quite a long period of time, these farmers have been demanding for this money. Last year, when the Minister for Economic Planning and Development, that is Henry Musasi, for under general duties, was here in Arua City during an engagement organized by Uganda Revenue Authority, following the issues that happened. It was actually this year, earlier on in January, following the incident that happened in Madiokolo. He was able to solely answer to the demands of these tobacco farmers, because the tobacco farmers came in numbers and stormed the meeting and demanded government to have them compensated, because many of them claim today their children have not gone to school just because the monies that they had borrowed to also engage in farming was taken by the company known as Continental, which they disappeared with their monies, and many of them have not received their money up to date. And now they want this main money to now be given to them. And now, Benson, if you really talk about the message that is just coming out, I feel it must now give hope for those families that are being demanding for this money, because some of them have died out as a result of stress. But their families still remain to have that money, and we hope at the end of the day they will be compensated and they will have the monies that they lost that company in there. And that will also make sure many people engage in farming. But really, Benson, really let's first talk about tobacco growing. As West Nile Sub-region, it is one of those cash crops that has been associated very much to us. If you really ask, what is the main cash crop grown in West Nile Sub-region? Many people will say it is tobacco. But of course, it is not official. We do not have any, or maybe cash crop that comes from this region, or maybe any cash crop that is strongly affiliated to this sub-region. But in most cases, people think it is tobacco. But then the question I'm asking myself is that, should we continue taking tobacco as our main cash crop? Yet, the population is still increasing. Food crops demand is still shooting high, and we hope. First, one thing I know about growing tobacco is, because me, I come from a village where people used to grow tobacco a lot. One of the disadvantages of growing tobacco is it actually, I should say, it kills the fertility of our soil.
That's why I was asking, should we continue relying on tobacco?
To me, I will say 30%, I will say, yes, we can still rely on it, but 70% me, I will say no. Maybe we now shift to another crop. You know, and also, one thing I've been in my mind has been cooking about is at least the other sub-regions, whereas the other regions have been known at least of one iconic cash crop. But you have said, you look at not only cash crop, even take it general now with the food crops. Is there any iconic crop West Nile is known of growing? Yeah, people have been talking about tobacco, but tobacco has faded. Now that means, and agriculture is actually the backbone of that Uganda. But for West Nile region, it's been one of the most populated.
And with the huge availability of land, a potential which many people would actually tap into. Benson, really, this is where I feel there's something we need to do when it comes to identifying a particular crop. For West Nile Sub-region, there's a farmer in Yumbe district who is giving farmers seedlings, that's for cocoa, and asking them to first of all have cocoa as an alternative to tobacco.
But
because
now,
if you look at tobacco, Benson, by the way, I come from a family that has background of tobacco. My dad was a transporter of tobacco from Terego, from those areas.
But
you know, tobacco growing is actually tedious work. We used to visit the farmers. We used to go to the farmers and see what exactly they're doing. Benson, you realize that there's really a lot the farmers are doing. At the end of the day, people invest a lot of time, but the money is usually not enough. So I think my humble appeal will be to the farmers that let's desist from growing tobacco. Let's embrace alternative food crops.
Like me, I used to go. I used to also perform part of the work. It's actually, I should say, it is actually a 1-year process for you to get the money, because you first have to start from the nursery bud, tilting, every process. It's tedious and it consumes a lot of money. And the good thing is it has faded. And we are just
but it's coming back. It's coming back. You try move around. You see that people are growing.
It is coming
Recently,
back,
I was in Terego, Benson. Allow me also to say this. Recently, I was in Terego. To my dismay, you know, I usually move around the districts of Western Sub-Region to see what's happening in there, and I make observation on what's on ground. To my disappointment, people have started regrowing tobacco.
Because
yet,
there is no
after the losses that also they incurred with Continental Company, many of them had desisted from growing tobacco.
Why they are going?
But now we are seeing them returning back to growing tobacco. Why don't they grow maybe maize and other food crops instead of going back to tobacco? What is forcing people to go back into growing tobacco?
You see, first, one thing about tobacco is, much as it is tedious work, hectic work, it consumes a lot of money. At the end of the period, after you working on everything, at least the money you will be picking pattern like this. At least will be heavier than you growing maize. And people don't in most cases people don't grow these food crops in large scale. Like, let me talk about cassava and maize, mostly 2 quarters, maybe at most 1 acre. But for tobacco, someone can grow 2 acres of tobacco, and in case it yields very well, that person can be in a position to, right now, that person can be able to get something of 10 million. But you talk about maize, let me say 2 acres of, if 2 acres of tobacco can be able to earn for you 10 million, then take 2 acres of maize, it cannot be able to earn for you 10 million. Now, you take a look at the tobacco, you take a look at, let me say tobacco has been a cash crop, and these are the foodstuffs. At least tobacco, you will be getting the money solidly. But for these other foodstuffs, food crops, at least part of it will be going for consumption in the family, and people also, when it is still in the field,
people have to eat food. Benson, without food, you'll not be shining how you're looking like. Let's continue talking about the good thing about tobacco growing is, for you to be a tobacco farmer, you should also be having extensive background of growing food crops, because that is a 1-year activity whereby mostly for you to also employ people to do the work for you, you need to cook for them. At least in most cases, you visit these tobacco farmers, their background when it comes to food crops is always rich. You will find that cassava plantation is there, maize is there, this one, potatoes is there. But they always balance these things, but we are actually praying for a way of how we can be able to drive people's attention away from growing that's tobacco food crop. So that is also what we need to also continue talking to people about, because at the end of the day, tobacco growing being a tedious work, we hope people should be able to sort of now move away from tobacco growing to what we call food crops growing. Because if you look at all that, then you realize that it is high time, actually, as Western Sub-Region, we moved away from growing tobacco and then head into what we call food crop. Because if you look at tobacco, Benson, tobacco has a lot of disadvantages.
Very true.
First of all, the growth affects the fertility of the soil. I'm not an agriculturist, but that is according to information I've been able to receive from agriculturists, that first of all, the implication of this tobacco growing on the land is quite intense. It means people need to desist from the tendencies of growing tobacco to now enter into growing food crops. Because if you look at Western Sub-Region, it is not maybe a lie that we have fertile soils, and we have huge chunks of land that are not occupied.
On top
Benson,
of that,
let's say if you planted tomato, you talked about getting 10 millions from tobacco growing. That time Mr. Mato was here, he said if you really plant an acre of tomatoes or onions, how much money would you be getting within the shortest time of period of time possible? Let's say within 3 months, if you earn 5 million, tobacco is going to take you 1 year. But you grow maize, tobacco, you grow maize, onion, tobacco. In space of less than 4 months, you are getting that money a tobacco farmer is getting. It means there is need for mindset change. So it means you, the farmer out there who is growing tobacco out there, maybe relying and thinking without tobacco, there's nothing you can do. Trust me, there's a lot of money in foodstuff growing because the population is growing high. Benson, population is growing high. It means the demand for foodstuffs is always high. Go to the market. Benson, go to the market right now. A piece of tomato is costing 500 shillings. Just one big one. It's 500. Onion, a small one, is 500 shillings. Move in the market and try and see how much costly that is. Now, what if you get 500 shillings from the 10, maybe 2 acres of land you have planted this at? How much money do you think you will be getting at the end of the day? It means the issue of growing tobacco is entirely mindset. It means there's need for mindset change. And our people of West Nile sub-region, we shouldn't be tagged as people who are growing tobacco alone because we have grown tobacco for all this while. But why is that we have remained poor? Why is it we have remained the way we have remained as West Nile sub-region? It means tobacco is actually not good. People must be able to resist. Look at Western Uganda. They are producing matoke. They have progressed. People have farms of matoke. They are growing very well, and most of them have also moved away from being poor. Farmers in Bunyoro, farmers in Western Uganda, farmers in Ankole, farmers in Chigezi, who are growing Irish, are not like farmers of West Nile who are growing tobacco. It means we need to have our mindset changed.
And you look at
our farmers.
Iris, in most cases, we are getting our iris from Mbale and also mostly from Kenya. First, one thing, Matthias, we encourage, I'm not trying to discourage people. In fact, we are preaching the gospel to them to start growing these food crops.
And they must leave tobacco growing.
Yeah, they must leave tobacco growing. One challenge I've seen is, you look at these petty food crops. You talk of iris, you talk of onions, you talk of maybe tomatoes. The biggest challenge here is any slight change in weather affects them. But we are not discouraging you from actually working on them. Now we are actually the next session is going to be, how do you actually drive yourself away from being affected by slight change in weather is one thing, of course, we need to look into. I think this is where we call for government intervention. Because someone may want to start growing maybe tobacco, not tobacco rather, leaving the issue of tobacco aside now. Someone may want to start growing maybe cabbage, maybe onions, maybe tomatoes. But as I said, any slight change in weather affects them, and this is where we call for government intervention. How can government be in position to support these people? Like someone might have tried it before, but because of changes in weather, it has affected the person maybe twice or thrice, and the person has already given up. I think we need to employ different tactics of how we can be able to encounter some of the challenges which comes due.
Looking at the issues of climate change, Benson, it's not only a country's issue, it is now a global concern. The whole world today is talking about climate change. And that is why there are several campaigns to make sure that people solely understand what exactly climate change is all about and what causes it. First of all, as man, we are to blame. We have cut down most of the trees that used to solely protect the climate and the environment at large. But it is the same as who is cutting down the trees. So I think at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves what we are not doing, other than relying, maybe waiting for government to come out to our rescue. Much as government has the mandate of supporting the farmers out there. Today, you realize that a lot of organizations within also the country, both government and non-government organizations, are there sensitizing the locals about issues of environment and climate change. Recently, there's one organization which I want to also not mention the name. They were in Nebi district and Zombo, trying to install what we call solar irrigation equipment. And that is to address the issue of climate change, which you asked earlier on. Because at the end of the day, if it is a drought, how and what strategies do we have to address that? And given the period that we are in today, we are witnessing a lot of rains. How can the farmers protect their maybe gardens from being washed away, protect their crops from being washed away by the floods? It means we need to dig channels That is where we expect the agricultural extension officers who are within also the districts to make sure they visit the areas where farmers are, to sensitize and skill the farmers on some of these initiatives. First of all, digging maybe the holes through the gardens, the trenches, to allow water passage would first of all prevent the farmers from incurring losses as a result of floods that may wash away their crops. And that is one strategy which the extension farmers today who are within the areas must embark on. And that is to make sure the farmers who are within the areas understand what exactly it takes. What about the scenario where we're witnessing a long dry spell? Irrigation is actually the way to go. And today when we talk about irrigation, there are modern methods that are being developed. I will not expect you in this era to go and start carrying water using a jerrycan and a can.
That is the reason that's why this
watering
time we
your
now
crops.
we
And
now
that is
call for
why
government support.
today we are seeing government, both government and non-government organizations in place are trying to make sure that they sensitize the locals about what is happening in irrigation. Look at the equipment that are being solely sold by some of these organizations. That is also to make sure that people solely have their crops watered. Looking at the solar panels, these activities may not be expensive. Look at water irrigation schemes that are being that are solar powered. All you need to do is just buy the equipment and have it installed in your gardens and install maybe the water channels and a nearby source of water. That is where the water will be moved using the solar machines from wherever the water point is into your gardens. That means you will be able to not be affected very much when it comes to the issues of preparing for the long dry spell. Because as Western Sub-region, we do not have maybe the criteria for having the green houses. I do not know how many greenhouses are here in the Western Sub-region. We may, if I'm not mistaken, we may only be having a very few that is at maybe Abizad. We may only be having there. What about the other facilities? It means we have to embrace the artificial methods of irrigating our crops. And that is where we need to also now embrace first of all, the solar-powered irrigation schemes, and that would also be able to protect the farmers from incurring the losses. I'm not an agriculturalist, and I hope at the end of the day, that would also be able to improve on food production, because we need to ensure that there's food production, because Benson without food definitely will die. That is what we saw what happened during COVID-19 period, where people were hungry, would not want to stay in their houses. And that is what exactly we saw why some people forced themselves into the streets.
First, we actually encouraging people to impress farming, and impress growing of these petty crops like tomatoes, onions, cabbages. But now, we also, at some point, we talked about government intervention, NGOs intervention. But let me tell to a farmer outside there who might be watching us at this particular time, government doesn't come for your support anyhow. First of all, if you are a farmer, let me assume that you are a tobacco, not tobacco. My mind is now full of tobacco.
You are addicted. It seems you smoke tobacco. The way you are so addicted to tobacco.
Now, let me assume that you are a tomato grower. It doesn't mean that, let me say as an example, you have a quarter of tobacco, not tobacco, tomato garden. It doesn't mean that you should go outside there and say, I'm growing tomato, I have got a quarter land of, and I need government support. Some of these
in terms of the pesticides and
maybe in the irrigation we talk, the irrigation part of it we talk about maybe government supporting you in terms of the pesticides. First of all, government of course will first have to assess, whereas these NGOs will first have to assess the scale, assess the amount of the land, or assess the amount of whole thing you are dealing with. Like at least if you have an acre, or maybe 2 acres of what you are dealing with, their government can easily come and support you. Maybe some of these NGOs, they can easily come and support you. It doesn't mean that just a small scale of maybe cabbage garden, or tomato garden, you already calling for government. Government for you to start supporting you, or else for these NGOs to start supporting you, they first have to assess how, of course, you are doing it. That's where easily you can be able to look for support from these people. That's what I can say.
Okay, government is already giving us support. Somebody out there may not be knowing how. The tractors already within the various sub-counties. Many of the sub-counties in Western Sub-region have today received the tractors from government. Now with the parish development model funds, we do not expect you to use this money for taking Marua. We do not expect you to use this money for getting women. Go borrow tractors at 100,000, because that's also where we have been told, at least 100,000 per acre. Dig. Other than relying on 10 people whom you're going to be borrowing and who will consume your food, who will consume your time. embrace the tractors.
But
and that's also where...
before we move away, okay, we are out of time. We will come for that discussion in the second last session.
Okay, that is where finally I want to say, let's utilize the agricultural inspection officers, those who are within the authority services, the veteran officers who are within place, and those who are both under government and not under government, and those who are also within maybe the private government, non-government organizations. Still, we expect you to reach out to the aid of government when it comes to sensitizing the farmers about certain activities. And today, Benson, I really want to say many of the agriculture-related organizations in Western Sub-region are actually doing a tremendous job. If I can be able to mention names, I would mention more than 10 names, and I will mention to you how they're impacting. That's also really in addressing the region in there. And that's where we're going to be taking a short commercial break. My name is Farish Majid, and today is the Tuesday edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show. Today happens to be the 24th day into the month of September, meaning we're just left with less than a week. That's to summarize the month. But how is the month ending? And these are the Mba months. And when, usually, Benson, when the Mba months end, just be rest assured that the year is actually coming to a close. Because after September, we shall be entering October, which is also the month of Uganda's independence. And that is where we shall be seeing there after the 2 months.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, the team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium, Channel 259 and Channel 246. Starting this August 15th. Subscribe to Star Times Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. Star Times Football and Limited Passion. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All All right, it's Tuesday, the 24th of the month of September, and we are getting closer to the end of the discussions, and we are just left with about 24 minutes to wind up with the discussions that will later on usher us into the AOL as a news bulletin with Fete Manuel, and thereafter so many other programs also still will be coming your way, and that is where we shall be solely expecting the Northern Request Hour with Olivia UG together with Didi Jero to also come shortly after the AOL as a news bulletin. And thereafter, many other programs also really still will be coming your way to keep you faster informed, entertained, and also educated as well. And as Western Television, the KOKOLIRIKO live show is always there to start off your day. And also the one beauty is to start off your day from an informed point of view is always that at the end of the day, there's nothing you're not going to be also not knowing. And that is where we are here to also give you that information. And we hope at the end of the day, you'd not also leave minus getting certain maybe kind of information, and that's where we want to keep you informed, entertained, and educated as well. And I'm still with Benson Pastore, and we are still looking at the issues that continue to make rounds in the country, right from the corridors of current affairs, politics, economically, socially, and political as well. We want to touch all the spheres of life, and that is where Benson was earlier on talking about issues when it comes to farmers. And Benson,
yes, it's true.
Welcome back to commercial break.
It's true. We concluded the second last stanza of the show discussing about the issue of agriculture. I should say basically. Now, Farisi, when we had the budget consultative meeting,
the regional budget consultative meeting, yes.
Yeah, regional budget consultative meeting.
What were the outcomes and what are the priorities really for Western Sub-Region? Let's look at the priorities which were being fronted for Western Sub-Region, because we are entirely an area that has no particular crop associated with. Yet we are also living in the part of Africa, which is an agricultural nation.
One of the issues which
what should be for Western Sub-Region in this next budget? Because these consultative meetings actually prepare for the next financial year budget.
Exactly, but normally whenever things are discussed in the gathering like this, there are always specific things which can be in position to catch your attention. One thing which caught my attention was the issue of district local leaders complaining of salary enhancement. We are actually talking about them complaining that their salary, so of course, it has to be increased. The enhancement we are talking about, and they are saying that they are actually not performing up to the expectation because their resource envelope, their salary is very little, and they are calling for Ministry of Finance to enhance their salary. And this is what Ministry of Finance is enhancing. They are saying that yes, they are not going to stop enhancing their salary. They are going to enhance their salary, but they are actually encouraging everyone to impress ATM. ATM is actually an acronym which stands for agriculture. You talk about tourism and also industrialization together with the ICT technology. So right now, Uganda's economy stands at 50 billion, and people have been encouraged to impress ATM such that Uganda's economy can grow up to 500 billion. And the Minister of Finance is saying that in case everyone impresses ATM, the system of ATM, that is agriculture, industrialization, tourism, together with the ICT, it means just in a space of less than 15 years, Uganda's economy can reach up to 500 billion Ugandan shillings. And there, the problem, the issue of salary enhancement let's say general, the issue of salary enhancement will not be a problem. Now everyone has been encouraged to impress that ATM, because we are trying to simplify it for you, because normally when we talk about ATM, people's mind go to bank related issues. ATM, industrialization, tourism, and agriculture. I don't know what you can say about this to the viewers.
Benson, first of all, when you look at the ATM, it's quite good, and it's an initiative that I must say has been long overdue. Let's talk about agriculture. Western Sub-Region has huge chunks of land, but the land remains unoccupied. Benson, you move from Arua to Kampala, you realize that most of the lands is still not occupied. And this land within Western Sub-Region, something which is not happening elsewhere, and yet people still continue to cry of poverty. What if we turned the unoccupied land also into maybe production? Let's say we plant certain products there. At the end of the day, how much money will we be generating? Move from Arua to Madiokolo. at the roadside you will still see huge chunks of land, which even you may think that has no ownership. And yet this land belongs to certain people who are now selling the land. It means there's mindset change towards agriculture. Today, most of the young people, Benson, prefer selling this land to buy a motorcycle instead of using this land for agriculture. Recently, I was in Arua district, Benson. Really, what I heard from that side is quite scary and shocking. People are selling land instead of utilizing the land to do agriculture, and yet under the ATM, which under Article 1, which is already the substitute, which is also agriculture, which stands for ATM, without the A, the T and M will not come. Let's talk about agriculture. West Nile has one of the fertile lands, but people are not in agriculture.
And the land produces the sweetest food.
The best.
If I may cut you short, the sweetest potato comes from West Nile region.
Look at the avocado from Vura. Quite sweet. Look at many other products that are coming from this sub-region. It means we are not solely engaged in agriculture. It means we need to have mindset change. What about tourism? For quite a long period of time, despite West Nile having some of the potential and the best tourism sites, we haven't been benefiting from that. That's what I can clearly say this. I want to mention to you some of the sites that we have in West Nile sub-region as potential tourism sites. Look at Oluko Falls. Look at Miradua. Look at the Pakwach Eclipse Monument. Look at Mountain Wati. Look at the mosque within the city center. Look at the churches. These are all potential tourism attraction sites. Let's head in out of Arua city. Let's look at what's happening in Madioko, Lajai Game Reserve. All these are potential tourism attraction sites. But how much money have the local governments of West Nile sub-region generated from these sites? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. It means, first of all, we need to go back and start reorganizing these potential tourism sites so that people can be able to get money from this. And that will also, at the end of the day, improve on people's livelihoods. Benson, I want to show you that many people today out there are employed in the tourism sector, both directly and indirectly. Why am I saying this? We have the tour guides, we have the drivers, we have the influencers, we have a lot of people who are working within the tourism side, who are officials. All these are working in line with tourism. It means there's still a lot of potential that we need to benefit from, and at the end of the day, get money from that. Look at the Pakwach Bridge.
Faris, some of these things might be happening because of ignorance. Yes, we may say that we have tourism sites, but how do we utilize them? How do we make revenue out of them?
Yes, that is actually what
something
now.
Maybe people may
first
not
of all, the tourism government, first of all, local government must come up and map these facilities. Mapping means that they need to first of all say this facility is this and it was formed in this year and this is what it does and these are the features it is having. Then let them be advertised. Benson, we need to go to these facilities and first of all mark them out. Let's tell the world that look, we are West Nilers and this is what we have in West Nile sub-region. Visit, and when you come to these facilities, you'll be able to get this and that. These are the services that you'll be able to get. And this is the required amount of money. You should be able to also pay as revenue because price must be tagged. But sometimes the people visit these facilities and they do not pay any money, and that's how we are not generating from this facility. It means the local governments who may need revenue must first of all develop these facilities. And I want to appreciate Arua City Council that today is also already undertaking a lot of facilities. First of all, this is an entity that has a sole department of tourism, where I must say Arua City has a tourism officer and has a tourism office, and today they're actually making sure they develop some of these facilities. Recently they are coming up with a proposal to have locations solely for these facilities be known. They will be putting signposts to direct where some of these potential tourism sites are, and that will also at the end of the day first of all increase on the number of people visiting these facilities. And then that means, Benson, me and you, we must first of all embrace what we call domestic tourism.
First, this one brings
domestic tourism is that me and you who are residing here, we must honor these facilities and visit them before we wait for foreign tourists to come. It means we and our family members must first of all engage and visit these facilities, and that would also make the ATM a reality under tourism. And then what about the M, the mining sector? How many mines, maybe minerals, do we have in West Nile sub-region? And how many sites are there mining the minerals? This is something we don't know. Many times, people may think that we don't have the minerals in West Nile sub-region. Yet we may be having, because first of all, this is coming up from a point that some of these mineral sites have not been mapped very well. Many people do not actually know the importance of these minerals. Many people do not actually know what minerals are within certain places. It means the leaders must interest themselves in the mineral sector, and they must also make sure they now investigate and find out what minerals are within their areas of jurisdiction, so that solely many people can be able to solely come and also maybe explore these minerals. Because if we have the minerals without them being explored, it will mean nothing.
Okay.
And people's lives will not be changed. Let's say if we had gold in Western Sub-region, Benson, how much money would we be getting from that gold?
First, it's not all about us having the minerals. It's all about how do we benefit out of these minerals. Because we don't have much knowledge about minerals. How do we benefit out of it? Like a person who is deep from the village might not be having a knowledge that we have a mineral here. Yeah, if yes, some people may come. Normal, what attracts investors quickly is actually the issue of minerals. Like in Zombo, we have in gold. In mining, in Moyo, we have in limestone. In Yumbe, we also have we have in gold also. But people, these local leaders, local government leaders, they don't know how actually they can be able to benefit out of these minerals. Like general, if we impress, like you have said, ATM will be in position to attract investors. Because investors, they cannot come into your area when you don't impress the three things we have talked about. First of all, for you to attract investors, you need to be active in agriculture. Agriculture, because agriculture will provide some of the raw materials for them. Security is also part of it. Tourism part of it. Obviously, it attracts foreigners or those are investors. What about the industrialization? But to me, I still have a question mark on the issue of industrialization. Matthias, they continue to emphasize industrialization that.
But now, Benson, we have been connected to the national grid. Why must we be having doubt? Yet we are now finally connected to the national grid. Let me ask this question. Have you felt any change when it comes to Western Sub-region now being finally connected to the national grid, or we are still the same? What's your opinion?
Me, I will say we are still the same. Why am I saying so? Ever since, no, I can say we are still the same.
Why? Because at least
since,
we are witnessing stability in the power now.
Ever since, it is not all that very stable. Much as the stability is there, but it's not all that very stable. And most of these lines, they're only in urban centers. Everyone is complaining that it is actually called rural electrification, but its meaning has been alternated. We are seeing it as urban electrification, because it's not in.
You know, Benson, when you talk about the rural electrification, today government has a program where over 10,000 families are to be connected to free electricity. All you need to do is be at a distance where there is a pole. And have your house metered, because government is not going to be coming to your rescue to have your house first of all metered. That's only where we are saying, if at all your house is not wired, then you will risk not getting out this money. But if your house is wired, it means that people have to work hard and first of all have their houses wired by certified electricity, maybe electricity men, and to have this power. That's where they are required to pay only 54,000. To get that meter. But how many people in your village have gotten advantage of this? First of all, you look at some of the institutions, you look at some of the schools, you look at some of the health facilities, health centers. Some of them, they are located in strategic positions for them to have the accessions of these power lines. But they have the powers. But they are not there. Trust me. Most of these institutions in rural areas, they are not accessing the power. That is the reason why I'm saying maybe that. Should we have hope that the power is about to reach, because this is a program that is still being implemented? We may continue to hope, because this is Uganda, whereby everything takes long. But to me, my emphasis is not in the households. My emphasis is actually the institutions like health centers and also training centers and also the schools. They are in strategic positions, but still they are not benefiting. But another question is how many people can be able to afford the 54,000 in these rural settings and to have first of all the house wired? No, that's why I'm. Yes, that's why we need to ask ourselves now: how many people will be able to also really afford first of all the house be wired? Then secondly, they require the 54,000 to have the meters also given. But now, if the line is not extended extreme, how will they still be able to benefit out of it? And someone deep from the village may still be in position to afford it.
But if the lines cannot be extended deep up to the person, of course the person will have to forget about it. That's why people still continue to raise concern, me, I will continue to say openly that it has not changed anything. It's only urban people. The system has remained the same. Because me, I've not seen any change. Institutions that have been in darkness, they have remained the same.
What about the prices of the power?
The prices of power, it has changed slightly. It's not all about
how expensive is it now, or how cheap is it now?
It has reduced slightly, but that's not people. By the way, everyone can be in position to pay for power. What is lacking is only the access for the power. That's why households that have been in darkness, they are still in darkness. Institutions that have been in darkness, they are still in darkness. Trading centers that have been in darkness before, they are still in darkness. But the transmission line, of course, has to be something they have to work on. The extension of it in the rural areas. To me, the meaning has been alternated from rural areas to now urban areas.
Okay, that is entirely your own opinion. And finally, Benson, as we get to summarize this hour, and remember, we shall be summarizing the entire discussions with what's happening in the world of sports, where you will be letting us know maybe what's happening in the camps of the teams. Because if you look at some of the teams in Western Sub-Region today, we are seeing friendlies being played, we are seeing official unveiling of players. All that is a signal that the FIFA Big League, of which Western Sub-Region is preparing for, will be returning, and we are hearing rumors of the games starting with the derby for the West Nile sides, and you'll be letting us know that later on. But now, before we get to give you that, now let's summarize the stories with what's happening also away from West Nile, where police fired live bullets to disperse protesters who closed off highway. And this is in Iganga, where the police in Iganga district resorted to firing live bullets into the air to disperse emerged locals who had blocked the road that's already leading, that is Iganga to Kaliro, for hours already on Tuesday morning. And now the protest already was backed by mounting frustration over the failure by authorities and Uganda National Road Authority to install that speed humps on the dangerous railway flyover that has become a hotspot that's for fatal accidents. And now the locals also already who began their demonstration at 7 a.m. barricaded the road, halting all traffic, including motorcycles and vehicles between also, that's the road connecting Iganga and Kaliro, calling for that police deployment. What can you say about that in just 1 minute before you get to give us what's happening in the world of sports?
This is Uganda. Normally, in Uganda generally, for people to understand.
Is it right for these people to block the road?
For people to... there might have been a hidden agenda as to why...
Because these people are saying that that road has become actually a death trap, where they're witnessing a lot of accidents. Now they want Uganda National Road Authority to come and install humps on this road, which UNRWA is taking long.
Is it a bad one? Of course, they are actually trying to help people, trying to protect the lives of people. Me, I don't see it as a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then finally, what's happening in the world of sports? Maybe you let us know brief highlights on what's happening in the world of sports. Because if we talk about sports today, Onduparaka Football Club seems to be preparing very, very much high. Not only that, Paida Black Angels as well seems to be also really very much preparing. Not only that, of course, Medical Calvary and many other clubs seem to be preparing their players ahead of the return of the games, as the Southern Uganda Premier League already returned. Yeah, it's true that Bet Power FIFA Big League is very soon bouncing back. According to the reports, these games that shall commence on the 6th of next month. The year is 2024. And for West Nile region, it will commence with the derby between Onduparaka Football Club and the team of Paida Black Angels, and this game will be at Ababet Greenline Stadium. Calvary is also in the mix. We have got Arue Hill Sports Club. Finally, they are back on track. That means we are having 4 teams from West Nile region battle. But Arue Hill moved to Gulu. Many people are saying now it is a Gulu side. No, it's not the Gulu side. What we know is if it is Gulu side, I expected them to have rebranded it as. But they have moved to Gulu already. No, that there are some teams. I remember there was a time a game between the River. So should we still take Arue Hill as a side of West Nile? Yeah, Arue Hill is still a side of West Nile because the name still remains, the brand remains Arue Hill. Otherwise, if it was now a side of Gulu, it was going to be Gulu Hill. Football Club, but let's leave that one there. That means West Nile in Bet Power FIFA Big League, it will be with a lot of dramatic encounters as far as derby is concerned. Like you have said earlier on, not only teams in Big League, also regional league teams like in Ebi Central. Over the weekend, they had an impressive win over the team of Calvary. A team from regional league beating a team from Big League. The second time is not an easy thing. And also, StarTimes Uganda Premier League still going on.
and also UEFA Champions League. So many things, they continue to happen, but we are out of time. If you want detailed information about sports, switch to Whistle Time with Owen Zaga and Susie Linda. And also in the evening, that's when you will be seeing me back on Lenses.
So
talk about
Benson, now just to ask briefly, your predictions on what teams you think will be winning the various leagues. Let's start with the regional league. Which teams do you think this time round will be promoted before big league? And then from the big league side, which team do you think will earn qualifications that the sometimes Uganda Premier League? And then on the sometimes Premier League, which team do you think will be crowned champions at the end of the season?
Okay, in 1 minute,
yes.
in 1 minute, I may say it is still too early because I have not watched some of the
But
teams.
you can look at from the preparations, maybe when it comes to the signings.
In the last few seasons, it has been mostly teams like Coach Urban. You may mention teams like in Nebi Central that have been dominating it. But this is a different season. The season is yet to bounce back. If we may take it based on the pedigree, we may still say that it has been from Nyagaki Zone, it has been by the Black Angels giving hard times to some of the teams. I think by the Black Angels already through to big league. Nebi Central may float back on water. And then on the other side, Araka the other time tried. Coach may this time not want to let it go into the hands of Araka again. Or the Mataku Central last season came close, and this might be their season. We never know. In big league is always a hard thing. Those of Umbale Heroes, those of Kataka, last season they missed it narrowly. It might be their chance. On the Paraka, they tried, but their chance is still pending. Hill. So for big league,
Mbale Heroes actually recently played a game against SC Villa where they were able to beat Villa by a goal to nil.
So it is for big league.
So me, I think big league on the Paraka Football Club may earn promotion because we have seen some of their former players with the Royal Sports Club returning back. Three players have already been added on the list, as others have already extended their stay at the Greenlight Stadium.
I still raise doubt about Ondo Paraka. Maybe Ondo Paraka, I don't think. Ondo Paraka, no.
And this time, sometimes Uganda Premier League, I'm going for NEC. And you?
NEC, in most cases, these teams, most of these average teams, they start the season very well. But at the end, they lead the gong into the hands of the big match guys, Vipers, Sports Club Villa. The other time, they came close last season, won. This might be the time for KCA and Vipers to bounce back.
All right, that brings us to the end of today's discussions. And that's the predictions from Mr. Benson, and we hope you as the viewer had a good time. And for you, of course, who love sports, who wanted maybe us to continue with the discussions, we are saying, unfortunately, because of time, we are not going to be continuing. We are stopping with it here. But of course, our sports program, the Whistle Time, will be coming through from 2 to 3 p.m. with Owen Zaga together with Linda Susie, who will be here to give you that detailed and comprehensive analysis of what's happening in the world of sports. With that, we come to the end of the discussions. We shall be bouncing back again tomorrow. My name is Farish Majid, and I've been together with Oracle Benson Pastore. Have a good day. We are out.